Sup, my fellas, don't forget to leave feedback and enjoy the story. 4 countries, 20 nations, several races, the world of magic, Rondel. We see a city with people, the age of magic and the sword has passed. Today Rondel is a world of very advanced magical technologies. This is called the era of magical progress. People could teleport from place to place, but despite advanced technology, the world of magic is still a feudal world, ruled by kings and nobles. For any violation or attempt on the master, people were killed. Class inequality is still in force. Despite this, the era of magical progress is called the Golden Age of Rondel. Technology has made great strides, and on December 20th, 1999, according to the magical calendar, the day before the new age, Archmage Rondel announced his will, and this turned the world upside down. Power, knowledge, wealth, he hid all his heritage in different parts of this world. Those who found these treasures will take his place. A great sorcerer who shook the world with his will, he was the founder of the world of magic and had a hand in the formation of this world as a techno-magical civilization. He was also the Archduke of a growing empire. He was the High Warlock of the Ninth Circle, Manuel Lucas. In all of history, there were only 3 wizards like him in this circle. He had no children, no successors, and his knowledge and power were great. The Seeker will have his entire legacy in his hands, and whoever finds his destiny will receive all the same things that he did. Archmage Lucas, they can take his place. They told the people they must do it. People started chasing the fate of Archmage Lucas. There was continuous news and speculation about it. Lucas' dungeon is located in the Dragon Wasteland. Lucas' treasure is hidden in the Elysian Alliance country, a famous offshore country. Lucas' Sky Fortress is located in the Stormy Sea in the center of the world. Regardless of nationality, race, or rank, the people set out to find the fate of Archmage Lucas. But rumor by rumor, many people had heard that fate was located in such places or others. No one could find the fate of an Archmage. People fought and struggled, and a lot of people investigated, but they never found any clue that could lead them to their fate. So 20 years passed, and no one found anything. But we see insanely beautiful mountains, and in the middle there is a guy who found the fate of Manuel Lucas. Once it was our hero who received the fate of the Archmage. It was 2007 according to the magic calendar. Lawrence Castle, there was a little gentleman inside. Is he going to the study again? He wants to replace the books that the master has already read, because he could have told his servants to do it. He wants to find something else to read, so don't let them worry. He was Viscount Lawrence's second son, Adrian Lawrence. The hero was reborn in this boy's body, and while remembering his past life, the end of his past life was quite boring. It was somewhere in the war. He served in the army and was only a month away from being discharged, but he died in an accident. The truck in which he was traveling overturned. When he opened his eyes, he was no longer in the Republic of South Korea, but in the Kingdom of Reinhardt. He was no longer Kim Min-gi, but Adrian Lawrence. Before that, the guy lived in a middle-class environment. Now he became the second son of a wealthy viscount and lived in an estate. At first, of course, he was very surprised, alarmed, but then he realized that his past experience could help him a lot in this new life. While his peers were swelled by games and other childish nonsense, he eagerly sought knowledge. He was praised because he was the first child with such a bright head. He exceeded the expectations of others and his father. But not everything was so cloudless. Rondel was a civilization technically more advanced than humanity in the 21st century. There were some portals and so on. The guy didn't know about something like that, so his knowledge of human science didn't help at all. In this situation, he simply has to improve his skills and continue to behave as if he is a genius. The boy read books from morning to night, but one day, this life was not as easy as it seemed at first glance. Suddenly the boy fell out of his chair, the cup broke, and everyone ran to him. When he was 7 years old, they tried to poison him. The boy coughed and lay unconscious. Rather, it was necessary to call a doctor. He was very lucky, because if the doctors were a few minutes late, he would already be dead, but who could have done that? The culprit was obvious to everyone. A woman came up to him and said how scared she was because of him when he fell. How does he feel now? This was my father's first wife, Anna Lawrence. To a high-born noblewoman, he was the son of a commoner, a bone in the throat, especially since his father loved him more than her son. The boy was very angry. So what if the world has gone far technically? The state system here is terribly backward. He can't convict Anna without proof, so why doesn't his father do something about it? It can't be that he doesn't suspect her. It turns out that he just turns a blind eye to it. It was then that the hero stopped building a young talent out of himself. 10 years later, on the 1st of May, 2019 according to the magic calendar, the guy was in a virtual reality capsule store. At that time, he was already 20 years old. Everyone knew him. He was the second son of Lawrence. It turns out that he is one of the owners of these lands, the sellers whispered. But why is he dressed so simply? Until the whispered guy asked them to come over. Of course they can help. He can't find the Chronicles points cards online. The girl said that they have new instructions to sell such cards only at the checkout. How much you will take? The guy decided to take everything. As he thanked her for the purchase and left, the girl scolded her assistant. When he gets his act together, doesn't he know that insulting a noble is a punishment? He was apologizing, but why didn't he send a servant to the shop? He shouldn't be doing it on his own. The guy went out on the street to meet 2 guards, but how would the girls in the store know? To be honest, she was also scared when she first saw him and not the servants. Usually he comes 2 or 3 times a month, and as he sees, he is very fond of online games. His package includes $5 million worth of in-game currency. There would be about 5 million won in Korean, too, the hero thought. A servant approached him, and they were informed that young Master Cedric had come to his house. Her mother was worried. She was Adriana Sylvia Lawrence. He hugged and comforted the man, cursing because he was traveling around the city again on foot and without a car. He was Adrian's half-brother. How did he already get the guy? He's the son of a noble. Can he even think about his family's reputation for once? Scolded his senior. Well, what a reputation. This tells him a guy who openly hangs out with girls. If he wasn't a nobleman, he wouldn't even be able to take care of himself. But it is better not to contradict him, otherwise this concert will only drag on. The hero apologized to him and said that he was not careful. They went their separate ways, and a half-blood commoner didn't need to be proud. Well, what did he come to him with? His father wants the guy to take over one case. Farce distributions, surely the hero has heard about it. By Earth standards, the nobles of Rondel are both oligarchs and statesmen. Naturally, they own a lot of businesses. The business that his brother offers is a mining company, one of the ones that the Lawrence family owns. Now it is clear why Cedric broke in here. The hero did not even think to claim this something. The guy, of course, is very glad that his brother quickly figured it out. If this is all, then let him be kind and leave, otherwise he bought himself loot in online games. His brother laughed and let him do that, and his mother came up to him and asked if he was sure. He should have said no. It's better just not to interfere, the hero replied, after the poisoning attempt. In the house he was welcomed. He would go to play and asked not to be disturbed, only if there was something important. He had given up trying to study, had become distant from everyone, including his own servants. Most likely, the father did not need the son of a commoner, who is not a genius, and he cooled down to him. Thanks to this, he never found himself in a life-threatening situation again. So he lived for 10 years like an inconspicuous shadow. This gaming addict, the same son of a nobleman who was once considered a genius. The guy graduated from the academy, left the estate with his mother. There is an opinion that he became so because of poisoning. People discussed. Someone has seen him grovel before Monsieur Cedric and does not dare to say a word. He lives in his own games. He banished himself from the family. They discussed him. Most of the servants in his new home are henchmen of his eldest wife, Anna. Even at home, he has to think that he is speaking out loud. In a desperate situation, all he can do is run away from reality. The hero entered his room and put on virtual reality glasses. Play online games is escape from reality. He entered the Chronicle Online. It's all a lie. They enrolled one level of the Destiny quest, loaded the character, synchronized it with the player's body. If they want to conduct total surveillance of him, why don't they follow him in the virtual world? Abilities acquired in the game are reflected in reality. 10 years ago, he entered the Royal Academy. He was writing an essay on Manuel Lucas, found something completely unexpected. Lucas's family credo, no matter how you look at it, was impossible to interpret it in any way except for the English word why. How could he possibly know English? Or maybe Manuel Lucas did, too. But the hero does not have enough evidence. It may be a coincidence, but it soon became obvious to him that the Archduke was an Earthling. Those were his last words, and he wished he could walk on a California beach with Mary again. The hero did not understand about what place he was talking about and had never heard of a California beach, but he did not omit it in his biography because everything that this wonderful person said is important. So his last words are written as is. So it was written in the biography of this man, compiled by his butler. It is clear that this cannot be a coincidence. The great Archmage Rondel was an Earthman, like our hero. The guy continued to investigate. He found more and more irrefutable evidence that he really is from the human world. The fact that the hero was from the world of people, he was very useful in the task of finding the fate that Manuel left to posterity. And in the end, he got the fate of Lucas finally, he found it. Now, for the rest of his life, he will ride like cheese and butter. But suddenly the guy was hurt by something. He was happy. Some person threw something at him. It was terribly painful. As soon as he reached the fate of the Archmage, true suffering began. He doesn't know if he should be concerned about Manuel Lucas' fate being hidden in an unexpected place. In an online game in a virtual world, this world looks indistinguishable from reality, but it is nevertheless a game. There is no sense of pain in it. But he feels pain and every fight costs him a lot. What no one knew was that after receiving the fate of the Archmage, a person moves his body into the game reality. If you tell someone about it, no one will believe it. He was fighting a goblin that attacked him. The guy has reached the 10th level, now he can change his occupation. He cleared the first level of the Fate quest. The main character moved him to a secret place. The guy was in a certain room. The character was loaded and his body was synchronized with the character. His abilities in the online game are reflected in reality. It was quite interesting. Synchronization, of course, did not make itself felt in reality for a long time. Suddenly Tiver appeared in front of him. Does he want to go up to the next floor of the magic tower? Of course, this guy didn't go there. It was Manuel's office. There was nothing on the first floor, but here it's different with thousands of books on shelves and a trunk. It was a treasure chest. He got 5 trillion loot. Let him keep his account to get that amount. Finally, something really similar to a reward, but it's a pity that this money can't be translated into reality. He has the first circle, and by creating the first circle, he gets a job as a magician. This circle will be created in its synchronized physical body. However, it is not money, but this is the real value. He must not leave the game, otherwise his physical body will be damaged. He hadn't seen health points and mana points before and didn't perceive them as anything out of the ordinary, but it was quite another thing to feel magic energy in real life. The circle was successfully created. It was right on the guy's chest. He can feel the mana swirling in his chest. It wasn't easy, so this is the power of fate. The Archmage needs to combine the game character's abilities and other things with their physical abilities in reality. Since the first circle was created, why not learn a spell that matches it? He is sure that Lucas also bequeathed these books to the one who will find his fate. The guy approached Taboo and suddenly was surprised because he was asked what kind of book he would like to find. It's quite convenient. There are just a lot of books here. He doesn't know how many years it will take him to read all this. Well, this is probably the library of the best magician in the world. Suddenly he felt sick, how he had a headache. In games it is convenient to read books with one click, instantly uploading their contents to yourself. Only personally does he feel sick and sick from this process of recording information in his brain. Well, finally, the last book, the book about hiding the circle, it teaches you to reveal the presence of a circle and the amount of mana and does not work against knights of the master level, as well as mages from the 7th circle and above, as well as against search artifacts of higher levels. This is the skill he needs most, as if they know what circumstances he lives in. The guy waved his hand and immediately read this book. Suddenly he felt dizzy again, this terrible feeling. He did not expect to reach the level of Manuel Lucas quickly. It is only a microscopic step. He still has so much to do. He just wants to live with his mother in the comfort of prosperity and security. For this he is ready to do anything. The next day, young people were training in the Manor's training ground, and they're tougher than he thought. One of the men said he was a confidant and a knight of the personal guard. He was praising the master. To be honest, he was even surprised when the hero wanted to practice with the sword. Recently, he feels out of shape from that and decided that he needs to work out. To be honest, he does it for the game, because training in reality will also affect his character. He realized that he needed to upgrade stamina when he felt a real fight on his own skin. But he can feel the circle of magic developing and his stamina increasing. It seems like the level up immediately reverberated in the real world. Thus, we can conclude that he can also use skills outside the game. Fortunately, he was able to solve the problem of hiding the circle of magic by learning a spell that would prevent knights from recognizing his mana, because knights have this ability. The hero thought so. The man asked if he had something good in life. Maybe it happened. He thought, maybe it's all written on his face. He just got a good reward in the game, so he walks around so happy. His brother listened to him, but of course, he's agitated, and this man also has his own oddities. Why is he so friendly with this insignificant person? What is he trying to achieve? The man was indignant. The hero told him not to pay attention. He is pleased that the man is worried about him, but does not know that the hero is just pretending to be harmless. It looks like he needs to survive so that his brother and his mother Anna do not see him as a threat. It's best to sound like a soft-spoken blockhead right now. After training, the guy logged back in and was welcomed to Chronicle Online. Well, he was convinced that his stats really reflected in reality. And now, in order to reach even more gold and abilities, he needs to spend everything that he has. It was loading a product catalog, as someone wise said. The most important thing in online games is a fat wallet. He bought experience points, the blessing of the goddess, and so on. As much as it would have been useful to him earlier, however, the directory was unavailable to him before he reached the 10th level. And here is the highlight of this program. He called a satellite. He has a bad stamina, so if he has someone who will aggratize all the enemies, it will help him. The satellite, of course, will take on the experience that he could get himself, but still, this is not a waste of money. He will choose the best companion to tank for him, no matter how much it costs. He has the money and the determination to do it, so he called in a companion. It was a low-class companion with no magic skills. A great choice, just like in the bad online games they make in Korea. He's invested 30 million won in this and he can't find a companion he likes. The choice is just awful. This companion is a shield bearer wearing the shield of God. This is the first time he sees such a companion, as she knew. In addition, it is at its own level, even among the unique satellites of the top. Finally, he got a great companion. He confirmed the purchase. The satellite is taken once and for all and cannot be changed. Does he really want to take this character as a satellite? The hero was very angry because usually this can be changed at any time, isn't it? Tank was an exception. It seems like a restriction that is applied to the event. To be honest, he believes that being a wizard, he doesn't need any other companion. The guy agreed. He registered his companion too brightly unless there were such effects when registering before. A green-eyed Skysteel army girl appeared in front of him, her expression blank, as if he had summoned some golem that only had the appearance of a human. Well, she was even very beautiful. Well, it doesn't matter, they're going to train. The girl beat up monsters. This is a magic arrow and another one. The hero has already reached the 20th level. Tableau asked if he would like to see the books on magic and practices he received. He has a good hunt because he has a tank with him. Even if he loses experience, he doesn't feel like it's something meaningful. Although the further you go, the more experience your companion will need. Maybe he will practice magic in real life. He's been in the game for so long, the guy's out of it. Someone was standing in the room for the hero today. It was a productive day. They will rest a little and go to the playground. But when he turned around, he noticed the girl from the game. What is she doing here? He was very frightened. But who is she? She is his companion, she said to the gentleman. He doesn't mean that. He means how she was able to get out of the game with him. He wants to know how she was able to materialize in his world. It seems that she even understands perfectly well how she can separate the game from reality. The girl is a homunculus, in other words, an android. It was created by Manuel Lucas, who created Arsha Heavenly Steel with the characteristics and appearance that were pleasing to him. So she was part of his legacy, and if only he'd known it was going to happen, he'd have found another companion. He's not picking on her, but he could have warned her, or her stats the same in this world. That's right, but some of them are closed, and they will only be opened when you level up. If you bring her statistics to the maximum, then she will be equal to a Grandmaster. Can she really reach this level? This is the 8th level out of 9 in terms of Knight's level. And in terms of the level of magicians, this is the whole 8th circle. She can compete even with the strongest of this world. In Garth itself, the strongest mage is only of the 7th circle, and in the world of 8th circle mages, there are only 8 people. Manuel Lucas created a monster of this level, but having such a loyal, strong and efficient companion will be very good. But when he puts her in this world, where she was before she moved here, how do you move her back to this game? She was in sleep mode, in a repair shop, in the sacred city of Everhill. Then she was moved by the system of unexpected meetings. It is possible to return back only at the same time as the arrival. If she needs to go to the workshop, she will go there herself. Does it have stealth or concealment functions? Since she is a warrior, there is no stealth, but mana concealment is possible. The hero asked her to do this. The protective field around her armor disappeared, and so did her mana. It's good that she can do this, otherwise the knights would have recognized her. But then what should I do? Much worse than it is, the guy has already leveled his reputation to the ground. People discussed that a girl goes to the hero and they were even caught in the room, and now they are still together all the time. What a shame. On the contrary, Adrian's mother was delighted and was already talking about getting married. It was a good offer, but he pretended that Uni had brought a woman home so that no one would know who she really was, even though mom was already ready to marry them. He asked Arsha what happens to her body when she is in the game. It looks like it's sleeping, but in fact switches to eco mode. But for the player's safety, it will always have an alert system turned on, she told the gentleman. Does this mean that if something really happens, she will inform him about it and call him? That's exactly what it will be, she said. Next, we see how they fight the Kant's Orc. These are the quest of fate. You need to defeat the Kant's Orc, level 2. If he kills a person, he will increase his level. Attacks with bombs and scrolls were forbidden for the duration of the battle. But this is exactly what helps him out the most in fights. Apparently Manuel wants his heir to be strong. Apparently, it will not be easy to win. Arsha came to the defense of the guys after his order and the monster attacked. With her shield, she shielded them from the orc's attack, and the hero shot a magic arrow. The monster didn't realize at first, so the guy managed to hit him in the eye. Due to the fact that he is wearing all possible magic-enhancing artifacts and robes, his spells are many times stronger than usual on the first round. If this monster is on his level, then the hero will defeat him. When he was planning an attack, the monster hit the girl's shield with his sword with great force. But even though he has a huge amount of health points because of that blow, he is severely injured, but he is still a big guy. The young man would have died from one blow. It's good that Arsha is with him. He would be lying if he said that such a huge orc does not frighten him, because he was already dying. The hero used the magic of digging, the floor under the monster collapsed, and it fell with a crash. You cannot let fear take over at this level. The girl should not let the monster get up, the hero will cast in it. The girl did so, and the monster's HP continued to decrease. Still, the orc is stubborn. It would be better if he put down his sword and went into melee. He swung at the guys, but the guy shot the magic arrow again. Thus, he defeated the monster and cleared the second level, as well as opened the third floor of the tower. At the same time, in the Viscount's study, Anna talked to him. She asked why he was alone. Maybe he was worried about that commoner in his son's room. But he showed a letter of summons. In connection with the imminent war, he needs to report to the training camp. He will be given command of the western regrouping of troops, 50 knights and 1,000 infantry. But he's not going to send Sarek to war. The man just kept silent in response, began to resent he can send a second son. He's still good for nothing but to play with toys. Maybe he'll lose his right to be called Lawrence for once. But the woman didn't even think about him all this time, and now she wants to demand that he give up his life. Her husband was indignant. He'd wanted it that way. He'd enjoyed a carefree life up until now, but did she really think so? He looked at her seriously. Sadric is the heir to his estate, and he provides her and her father-in-law with everything they need. So let her accept his decision with resignation. The woman was very angry. He would send a second son, as she requested, but when he returned, he would have complete independence. Adrian and Sylvia must be saved from anything else. No more spying, no more fake servants. She had to stop and give the boy complete freedom, he said, looking at the boy working out on the street. The coach praised him because he became so strong thanks to training these days. It's just incredible how strong he has become. If he had been practicing since childhood, he would now be such a master. Of course, he had leveled up, and defeating the orc was also accomplished. He had already reached level 30 and completed the second level of the Destiny quest. The reward he liked, he got a bunch of gold and a second round of magic. Your hidden vault got. It is similar to the inventory in the game, an invisible space in which he can store things. You can use it not only for personal inventory. Statistics in the game are also reflected in reality, so he can become a magician while having the physical strength of a knight. If he fully mastered the entire legacy of Lucas, maybe he would become even greater than the man himself. While they weren't practicing, a man came up to them, and you told the guy that His Grace the Viscount was calling him. It's time to give the boy his freedom in a couple of days at the Lawrence estate. And the guy was thinking, what did they send him? His brother shouted at his father, how does he represent this weakling in the war? But this guy is the sole heir to the estate, he can't risk it. Could he really do that to his other son? The hero's mother protested, but still, an heir is more valuable than other children. Why did he call for the sake of saying this? The hero is very angry, but it's not so bad. He will be able to take his VR glasses with him. No one will interfere with his game, thanks to his position. But most importantly, when he left, he would be able to get out of Anna's control. He understood his father and agreed to go to war to be a representative of their family. The guy at least respects the decision of his father, but let the hero know that if he disgraces the family at the front, the guy will not just leave it. This is very funny, because he says this to his brother who is going to fight in his place. His brother may be mature in age, but not yet in character. It seems that he was just spoiled, but he will do everything in his power. After the conversation, the man asked the guy to stay and talk. They talked. It turns out that he even sent the guard away. You want to say something without witnesses. What does his father want to talk to him about? A guy stood behind him on the balcony. He said that if the hero returned safely, he would move him and his mother to the royal lands. This will be his reward for taking his brother's place, and he will enjoy complete freedom. And would never allow him to not be under her control. It's quite strange. How could she agree? He can't trust me yet, but he knows what he needs. The father noticed that the boy did not trust him. He first needed to get out of the front, he told his father. And that's right, he gave something to the guy. It was 2 rings, these 5th and 7th grade defensive field rings. Teleportation isn't possible on the battlefield, so that's all he can do for his son. The guy thanked his father, let him always be on the lookout. He turned around and saw his brother and stepmother. Of course they were peeking, shame. His father took care of his mother, and the boy should take care of himself. When they tried to poison him at the age of 7, his reaction was a shock, and then he disappointed him many times. But there are only enemies around, and the only one he trusts is his father. He will definitely come back and trust his father. In the evening, the man was sitting in the room, and suddenly he had a headache. He used pain reduction, and it helped him. His boy, the man, knew that ever since he was poisoned, he was acting like this on purpose. He told his mother not to be afraid for him, because she knew that he could take care of himself. He reassured her before leaving. But if Anna suddenly sent murderers to the front, she sobbed. Then it's even better to let them commit more crimes, and so it will be easier to eliminate them in the future. But if he heard them, his mother was afraid. Let her not worry. The girl was on the lookout at the door, but he would not take it any longer. He would put an end to it soon, she just needed to wait a little longer. 2 days later, the gentleman was also gathered in search, and they asked him who the lady next to her was. Didn't he know the army? The man had heard that this was the lady of his heart. They were going to war, and he would not have taken his mistress there. They were in the levitation train, in the conference room. The issue was closed, the hero said. If they insist, they will certainly understand. But he could not leave her at home, because she is ready to protect him to the last drop of blood. Especially recently, she has been very much upgraded, very close in level to the highest knighthood. The hero needed to prepare for battle to protect himself. He had spent 200 million gold in 2 days. And also for the money, he cleared the 3rd level of the quest, Unexpected Encounters. Now he is not far from the 4th level. There were 3 awards for the last level, each worth 100 billion gold, the Universal Panacea, 3 elixirs. They are waiting in the wings in a closed vault. This is a very timely reward. He won't waste any more time. She said that she would go to her room. If there was anything important, they should write to him. But why write? Because he will go to play online games, and that they have something to object to. It seems that they are telling the truth about him. Sir Dalton, an officer of the advanced detachment. An advanced squad is a special squad equipped with magic armor and magic swords. They are the main driving force of any army, and they are used to judge how strong the country is. Whether the hero is not sure that now is the time for games, they will look at him as a non-entity. The officer of the advanced detachment said so. Hugh, what's his reputation going to be like when he brings a girl to battle and he's going to play? It seems that he has decided to stage a rebellion against his lord's representative. The men still understood about the girl. She was a beauty. The man was ordered to watch his tongue. The deputy captain of the advanced detachment asked for forgiveness for his subordinate. He exceeded his authority. Well, they had a long road ahead of them. Everyone needed entertainment, but it didn't seem like this man was sincere. He doesn't need to pay attention to the opinion of a subordinate, since he is the representative of His Grace the Viscount. Well, this man obviously doesn't like the guy, but he's still used to it. When they arrive, let others write a messenger and do so. The guy fought in his game and pumped his hair. It's really overly expensive. This jar of salamander tears, but 3,000 damage without mana costs us a lot. It worked. He had reached level 80, and the main god Ariel had moved them to the secret room. It was a 4th level quest, a battle with a half-faced Emmers, and here were his victims. We need to clear out the 4th level before they get to Western Command. It was a skeleton that was ready to attack guys, liches, strong monsters, and serious opponents. But this one seems to be slow and Friend brother used spears made of ice stone. He cast and didn't even wait for them to get ready. The girl will not have time to protect the guy. He must dodge himself, so he did. Very sweet is the sound of his broken bones and torn flesh. The monster laughed. The guy hurt his hand, fell to the floor. He was in so much pain that even his thoughts were confused, and his screeching was so annoying. As if it's familiar, as if it's the laugh of his hated brother. He ordered the guys on the spot, used a fireball, firing it at them. The guy used magic. You can't let him cast. The best way to defeat the lick. Stab him with a blessed weapon. Why does the guy fight with a magic wand? He used a wall of fire. He will put a barrier between them. But the guy jumped over that wall and delivered a crushing blow. The next level was completed even though the guy got sick. The girl ran up to him. They say that during the fight, because of the rush of adrenaline, they do not feel pain, and as soon as it was over, he fell. A companion who opens her master's inventory on her own, she's really special. He felt much better, fulfilled the conditions of opening the next floor of the tower, and also opened the next floor of Manuel's magic tower. It was moved to the next floor, and he found himself in a certain room with a chest. He happily ran up to it and wanted to see his awards, but received a point of comprehensive view. What they are, they cannot be ordinary. It's from the magician. You need to open the description. They have the properties of clairvoyance and improved vision, allow you to see the purpose of the subject, are also a lie detector and see-through obstacles. These glasses will help him recognize enemies and friends, an essential item for a distrustful type like him. He arrived at the Western Command, the second son of Lawrence. Everyone thought that a bigger brother would come. I think his name is Sadric. He was a genius who showed great promise, but this is definitely not the one, but the younger one. Others have heard that after the poisoning he became a fool. He went up to them and said that he was the one who had been poisoned, but they could see that he was not a fool at all. Later, he came to greet the deputy chief of staff, and they talked. Now let's see, how much force would they not have brought? There were 5 officers of the vanguard and 50 knights, and another 1,000 infantry, but it is not necessary to take it into account. The officers of the advanced detachment will decide the outcome. An elite armed with magical artifacts will decide, the hero thought. Only a mage of at least the 7th circle can deal with an officer of the advanced squad. But, unfortunately, he says everything correctly. As far as the hero understood, it was the magician who introduced the officers of the advanced detachment into military practice. Its fighters are integrated into the army as the second separate brigade, part of the 3rd Division, by its brigade commander, Count Otis. This person is the Great Lord of the East, greeted his people. Now they are a separate brigade. The hero hopes that they will not interfere with him too much. They went ahead, and a week later, everyone was saying that Commander Otis was just the best. The best commander is the one who is not present all the time. The beginning of actions he left on business and will appear through teleportation. He has things to do, but when is the war coming soon? The man's actions were inexplicable, but the hero was able to play freely while he was away. What came into the room? It was a man. He wanted to hit the guy, but what did he want? He'd better explain. He's just worried about his condition. He's been in the game too long. And this girl accidentally came up. Write to him in the messenger if something serious is happening. Arsha is here for a reason. She is on guard. Let the man tell the truth. He entered the brigade commander's room without permission. Why? He wanted to kill the hero. The man left her. If this is not the case, then let him find a more convincing explanation. He asked what had happened. He was trying to separate them, so he was trying to drag the girl away somewhere. The man started shouting and saying that he was slandered, calling the girl names and swearing. Probably everyone who is with him is also on his side. He's breaking discipline, but no, he's trying to start a mutiny. When the hero will judge him as a rebel, he stabbed the man, but stopped in time. Let him take a step forward. Others asked him to stop. The hero was quiet not because he was kind, but because he wanted to survive. Now Anna can't follow him. He won't give in to anyone else. This is a great opportunity to show everyone. A man on the street was informed that the brigadier said he was going to execute Dalton. He should hurry. How can this clown still order him around? Why execute him? What's going on? Suddenly, a bloody dagger flew at him. Didn't the guy say and ask him to hurry up? But let me ask why his grace is doing this, and what does it all mean? A knight who harasses girls is not a knight at all for him. But what does this man think? Suddenly, he started shouting at his subordinates. Why did they do this? It was all the deputy commander's fault, and he apologized. Sir Dalton has been removed from his post. We need to take his equipment and send him to prison. And these 3 people who let him in here are also accomplices. This is not even discussed, because it is the guy who is in charge here. This is not their land, he told the deputy. The hero turned around and left. He does not like the smell of blood, so he will go to another room. You need to clean up everything. Let them order the servants. The deputy watched him go. So that's what this guy really was like. It must have been so hard to stand it and not show who he really is all his life. The hero left. He again fought with the girl in the game. They fought against a certain monster similar to a person. The team worked, together the girl defended, and the guy attacked. The monster always hits the blind spot and manages to keep its distance. This was a level 5 surprise encounter quest. He tried to finish off the guys and swung at the guy, but missed, and at that time the girl hit him with a shield. The monster has fallen, but it's only a means for a guy to level up, right? The next floor of the tower was open to the player. He received 2 trillion loot. Gold is always so nice, and what a huge chest this time. But it turns out that the guy has received equipment, a staff and a robe. This is all for him, and he will give the rest to the girl. New equipment is always good, and Archmage Lucas always gives you the best. But what is it? The guy noticed when he was in the library. Then we see how the man wants to learn something from the hero. He felt the presence of a strong energy. The young man explained that he was just rummaging through his artifacts. The man apologized to him and left like a guy and thought it was a magic sword like the ones used by frontline officers. He was holding Istro's 2-handed sword, and if you charged it like a battery, even a weakling would be able to use the strength of an advanced squad officer. The advanced squad officer's magic equipment is designed to increase their strength. Unlike Anna, the aura cannot be artificially created. Could it be that this mage equipment also has such properties? Both the staff and the mantle were able to store an aura, and now the hero understands why everyone was so eager to snatch the fate of Archmage Lucas. Then we see him in the real world. 2 weeks ago, he was appointed as the representative of the House of Lawrence and prepared the army for battle against the Cruzan Empire. He walked through the house. He let the guards go. The feeling that a military conflict was about to begin was dulled. The army was idle. After the incident with Dalton, everyone is afraid of him. That's fine, let them know who the guy is surprisingly. But Billiam suddenly has a lot of respect for the guy. He was interested but cautious. Well, it didn't matter as long as he wasn't disturbed during the game. The girl was always there for him. She was happy, but why? She is happy because they went out for a walk. She is just like a puppy. It turns out that even a homunculus has emotions. He doesn't know anything about her, and she doesn't have a character except that there are things that she likes and doesn't like, but she doesn't show it. There was a good walk. They were walking through green fields, and the girl was very happy. Suddenly the guy laughed with this, and she did not understand the reason for his laughter. When I came back, he said that he would go out with her more often, and she agreed. Another guy approached him. He asked if the hero would like to have a drink with him, but he did not understand this invitation. He felt great shame. Everything was clear. He asked if those guys had put him up to it, but why does the hero need it? He doesn't want to drink. Why does the person who invited him even have the rank of knight? The guy apologized and asked for forgiveness for the insult, but it was already superfluous. And that's not what the hero meant at all. Other than the homunculus, he had yet to meet anyone with a whole 2 high talents. And his rare special trait and great talent in magic, why does he allow himself to be bullied? But this is not the hero's problem. He also apologized and said that the guy could have achieved much more if he had become a magician. They don't dare bother him anymore, the hero told the guys who bullied him. He left. What a shame. He didn't want a problem. He didn't stand up for this boy, but still, how much good could his talent do? If you gave him the equipment of an advanced party officer, he would become a battle mage. Of course, talent doesn't decide everything, but he became a knight at such a young age, and he has every chance. If only the hero would take him under his wing, but Count Otis is a barrier to this. Alan Lopez, a knight from another country. So first the guy needs the man's permission. It is quite possible to bribe him, because he has never been against bribery. The hero doesn't know how useful very high talents are, but he needs to start assembling his team. And now is the time when he is away from the influence of his stepmother. He already knows what he and the girl will do. They have a lot to do. This guy was thinking about what the hero had told him, because he really could have achieved so much more if he had become a mage. Adrian Lawrence at first, he thought it was just a haughty noble, but he thinks he should have become a mage instead of a knight. He thought about that too. He went to his commander and arrived on his orders. He knew that the rumors couldn't be believed, but in this case, there were such lies about him that it was amazing. He opened the door and said that his lordship had called a guy, and he invited him to come in. Our hero was sitting there, but why they called him, he probably already knows that this is a representative of the Lawrence family, Adrian Lawrence. From now on, he will be his lord. He must serve him faithfully. He remembers an incident from a previous life when China lost a soccer game in South Korea. One fan wondered, aren't there 11 good soccer players in China among a population of 1 in 4 billion people? I couldn't find it, because the Chinese Messi or Ronaldo is digging in the ground somewhere on the farm. No matter how many talents a person has, if they don't have a social ladder, their talent will be lost. Who would have known that so many young men were wasted? Just like this failed knight of the Count, the working peasant Barnabas Anderson, one of the few soldiers who owns a musical instrument trumpeter Eric Jones. Just like the cheeky boy who was caught selling erotic magazines to soldiers by Nicholas Brown. A servant girl from a nearby regiment, Linda Noah, and many others are losing their talents. They are all gifted, but they went the wrong way and therefore did not achieve anything in life. He was approached by the same girl. Does he really think that she can become a sorceress? She passed the test, and he did not confirm the abilities. The problem is probably in the hardware on which it was tested. The girl wanted to object. Her mother is very high, her learning ability is also high, her intelligence is low, but in order to get her, he had to buy her out of the owner and give her a few more bribes. Now, of course, no one will understand the action of the hero. They do what they say because they are paid. But the maidens have no need to do what the master says, said Barnabas Henderson. This guy is gifted physically. He came with Nicholas Brown. The hero will make them knights. Barnabas was wasting his time working in the mines, and he doesn't understand why the man is willing to listen to him. Whether they have already chosen their outfits, they are far away from the camp now, 100 kilometers away in the royal palace. Haute Couture 8 Lear, the royal palace. They're all confused, and they've never been to a place like this before. The guys chose their costumes, and the hero praised them. They will serve him faithfully. Eric had high leadership, management skills, and a special trait: he knows how to convince. These talents are actually talents that are even rarer and more useful than magic and swordsmanship. He asks them, ladies and gentlemen, not to look at the price tag. They just have to choose what suits them. The guys thought, if you do not cultivate talents, they will remain lying on the ground. One of the guys chose a suit, but he is no longer a soldier. He will send them from the camp for training. Each of them will have a special approach. They must dress accordingly to their new environment, and they will also have to be properly equipped. Later, he brought them to the palace where they would live and study. He assigned each servant and butler from now on. All their strength and attention should be directed only to study. He will pay them an allowance, including compensation for dismissal from work. Their monthly allowance of 20 million lut a year is 240 million. The terms in the contract are the same regardless of their origin. The guys are fired up. They will do everything to exceed his expectations. If they can prove that he was right, their salaries will go up. He understands that they may not grow so fast in the sciences, despite all their efforts. So let them do everything they can to avoid letting him down. The hero smiled. He hopes that they will live in harmony and not disappoint him with quarrels. The guys raised their hand to Kolb and said that they were listening. If someone tries to entice them with money, they should not hesitate to tell the guy about it. He will give them twice as much as anyone else offers. He wants to reward them for their confidence. The children were surprised that this educational institution will be a haven for his henchmen. He must make sure that their talents are developed. He may have spent a lot of money, but in reality it's an investment in the future, in these guys an investment in high-quality personnel. Anna, you need to protect your mother from her. When he openly goes against his brother, he will need to hide her. It would be a sort of safe prison, and she would have to find a place for it before returning to the camp. But first, before he could finish speaking to the girl, she suddenly pushed a guy away. He said hello, it was a couple of days ago. He doesn't know how he knew that he was going to take the commoners under his wing. But his brother called him in the middle of the night and told him that this was the right way to deal with the same rabble as the hero himself. How stupid he is. Thus he admitted that he follows every step of the hero and the girl. In the end he was caught by the girl. First, he will tell you how he found the boy he teleported out of the royal palace. The hero was sure that they were being followed, but this man had no idea what they were talking about. It turns out that this is my brother's spy. The girl put him on the ground. If he wants to live, then he must answer questions. Increasing the aura doesn't give him anything. It's a nightmare. She's just an aura expert. This girl, the spy thought. If she didn't talk, they would kill him, he knew. And he told the guys to wait. They talked to him, so he found the hero, because his brother has another rat in the teleportation cabinet. The guy was covered in sweat, apparently not lying. He was experiencing fear, confusion, and awareness. He knew Cedric was sending spies for him, but there was something interesting about it. What is it? The guy followed Cedric's order after, but he has nothing against the hero, as if he didn't want to do it. The guy didn't say anything in response. The hero thinks that he is ready to go against his master, doesn't he? It was right to the point, although the man objected, but the hero presented his forehead with a knife. Does he want to live or not? If yes, he should work for the hero, nothing complicated. He just needs to send him reports every day, and report to him as if the hero is doing the same thing as always. If he does, then everything will be fine. The manor discussed that Sir was in jail for espionage. Unfortunately, he was caught right in the brigadier's quarters, which caused a lot of problems. Cedric was confused. It was all because he didn't listen to his father and kept sending spies. Now his father will be furious because the man promised Adrian that he would not be followed. It's a pity, but he has no choice. Until his father stops being mad at him, he will have to look after Adrian. He was discussing this with his spy, and the girl and hero were standing next to him. They said their goodbyes. They'd already caught the other spies and treated them like Dalton. The hero will not let him take away his status. The talent collection went like clockwork under his command. 20 very gifted recruits. Eric and Elijah, a half-elf and former administrator of the Allied forces, will take care of his young talents. Everyone is working so hard for him to be able to beat the crap out of it. The guy was already at the 159th level in the game. One more level and he would already be a 6th circle mage. But suddenly he received a message that a state of emergency had been declared and an urgent order had been issued. What an emergency! He's close to the front line right now. If something happens, it'll be a problem. They ran up to him and said that the sky fortress of the Empire had crossed the border. Now they are waiting for details, but was it really just the calm before the storm? The Cruzans made their move, all seated in the council chamber since their forces were ordered to wait. Then they will load the fighters onto the Leviathan train so that they are ready to move out at any moment. While they ate and slept inside the train, the hero was afraid that he would not find Division Commander Otis, but he was still there. He said that from now on, teleportation coordinates are being intercepted along the entire front between them and that empire. So even if no one thinks to move, it's suicide. If he had been in the camp, again, they would have been caught without the divisional commander and would have had to plan everything themselves. It's a good thing the Cruzans attacked in the daytime. The man prohibits all types of communication for soldiers, except for the rank of colonel and above. The soldiers will communicate using a walkie-talkie. This surprised the hero, but it also concerns him. You need to be more careful. It turns out that he says this to the boy, but he still won't stop playing online games. The war has begun. Everyone needs to be on high alert, and so everyone did. The guy said that he would also do everything, but actually played online games. He defeated the monster two-headed ogre Totsit. Now he's definitely going to get the 6th round, isn't he? He said that he would play, and it was worth it, even though he was scolded for using devices. This, of course, is not good for everyone, but for him the game is important. He has received new achievements, money, and his amount will be credited to the account in the Union Bank of Elijah. There will be another bill. The guy paid attention to the bird. He gets an additional companion of the black supersonic eagle. Well, what is this additional satellite? Does this happen in this game? The Archer class has eagle satellites. It's better that he actually finds out something about this eagle. The guy came back, but he wasn't here. Maybe the bird was outside, but there was no one there either. He thought that this giant black eagle would appear in the room just like the girl and he would be in trouble. But it seems that everything is not so. Suddenly the girl noticed him in the sky. "You need to duck," the servant shouted. Although the guy was standing quietly and the others fell to the floor when the bird flew over, it sat right in front of the hero and looked at him. She has strong bones and skin like a dragon, and it is very difficult for her to deal damage even with a magic ball. She also has general vision, but why does she only have one ability? The girl gets stronger as the hero gets stronger. He needs to know how to unlock the skills of this bird. However, this is probably due to passing the levels, as usual. If he doesn't understand what a vertical dive does, well, here's a general vision that looks like a useful skill. This is an excellent view at the speed of light. Suddenly, a man came to him and asked what kind of monster it was. He was so focused on the eagle that he did not notice how many onlookers had gathered. Looking like he had no other choice, he held out his hand to the bird and asked if it wanted to go with him, and the bird crouched down and hugged the guy. Everyone was surprised why the eagle doesn't attack, and even fawning over the hero is, of course, just something. Why did he arrange this terrible performance? The hero was embarrassed, as if he didn't have to. Later he will regret it. The war began immediately in full swing, not with pinpoint clashes, but with full-scale military operations along the entire western border. A war of annihilation, so his team is fully engaged, but there is no connection, so he can't log into the game. An advance party was approaching them. They reported to the heroes, "You cannot panic, you need to retreat and regroup." William needs to pass on the order to advance. Although it's just a game, but on monsters, he still learned not to be afraid for his life. The man looked at him, and he asked what was going on, but the man turned around and left. The boy noticed that the cruisin' vanguard was striking. They must listen to his command. They must deploy energy shields over the train. The soldiers did so. They turned their shields and the attack passed. Everything inside shook. Such a blow from a distance. This is not just a reconnaissance battle. Without a 7th circle mage, it becomes obvious which one of them will win. The hero has been asked to report the situation to him. The energy shield was breached, and there was 90 seconds to cool down. With a single blow, this vanguard took out their shield. Archduke Lucas, why didn't he make the best military equipment for Vanguard? And I should be afraid of the enemy's vanguard. If they level up to the maximum in the game, then he will be a mage of the 9th circle. Well, is everything alright? The girl asked the master, who has one Grand Master Knight in his service, an analog of the 8th circle mage, Arsha. The battle was still going on this time. Their team was blown away. If not for the guy, they would have been blown to smithereens here. Adrian denied it, but he's being modest. Well, of course, no one pulled the men's tongue. Now they will see what is happening. Their forces are approximately equal. Another thing is that they have sky fortresses. That empire has 2 sky fortresses, but they are much smaller than them. Apparently they were hastily produced specifically for a military invasion. As far as everyone knows, this is the first departure of such heavenly fortresses. In war it is usually so, on the ground the vanguard, and in the sky the heavenly fortress. There are no attacks on the ground, but something is clearly brewing in the sky. The attacks continued, and they are already serious. Suddenly there was a disconnection of weapon systems and disconnection of bridges, but what happens? Why did they fall? We see some black things in the sky start to crash to the ground. So from 2 to 1, they went to 1 to 1. Well, why did this happen? Apparently, the wheel fell off. The concentration of magical energy. Why is this happening? The hero understood everything. You need to immediately tell their sky fortress that these parts of the fortress will soon explode, and this happened in a few seconds. The whole structure exploded on the ground. There was a lot of smoke from the explosion and there was a fire. We need to send word that these parts of the fortress are going to explode, Hadrian shouted. It could be a self-explosion. You need to retreat urgently. You can live on the enemy from anti-aircraft missile systems, from machine guns, from anything. The main thing is to shoot them down. Honor flew at them. They would have already been dust if the hero hadn't used a large shield. After the defense, he got sick. The shockwave hit the hero, but thank God he used his father's ring. The sky fortress was fine. It managed to fly to the side. If the enemy managed to bring down the sky fortress on the ground, then even the survivors would be finished off, but already on the ground. Adrian ordered them to check on the condition of the advance party and take the wounded for treatment. Later in the office, Otis praised the hero for his good work. He was embarrassed, but if he did not notice the object moving towards them, the party would suffer huge losses. This tactic was used by the enemy in different parts of the front, but some of them were able to avoid losing the sky fortress while others did not. The man informed the general staff that today's victory, the merit of the guy, he can expect a good reward. The hero thanked his lordship, but it was a man's duty to ensure that his subordinates were rewarded as they deserved. Many people would try to claim the victory for themselves. The guy thought, maybe the count is a good person after all, but he still needs to clarify something. There are rumors that he is the tamer of a giant and unusual eagle. The soldiers told the man that the guy quickly and easily found a common language with the bird. He does not understand what it is about, but the bird is really very smart. It seemed to understand everything that the hero said, so he began to communicate with it. They still understand. It's interesting. This is our common language, Otis said. The eagle is really smart, understands speech, very interesting. Suddenly, a certain guy said that since it was a giant black eagle, it might be an altar species from the sacred city of Everhill. These birds are born with a high level of mana and can fly up to almost thousands of kilometers. The hero knew everything about these birds, but was silent, and the man was amazed by new knowledge. They say that if a person can tame such a bird, it will serve him and never betray, even protect the owner at the cost of its own life. This is interesting, the hero said. It's a good thing that the archmage made this chimera in the likeness of a real type of eagle. Otherwise he would have had problems explaining what kind of creature it is. The man laughed, saying that the eagle looks like a dog. The enemy retreated. Can I use the connection now? Otis gave him this opportunity as a reward. Finally the hero will be able to go play. It was the second week of the war, and Sir William was walking with the boys, and it was unlikely that he would be out in the open because he wasn't coming from the mountains. It can blow a trap. It is worth keeping a distance, and upon detection of the enemy, you need to start a battle with a long-range weapon. Not so long ago, Brigadier Lawrence would not have been listened to. The captain asked if everyone understood. You should not rely on the radar signal, but keep your distance, as the foreman said. The man wondered how many changes people had made since the war began. Suddenly wars came out of the ground. They could not be counted by radar. It was a trap for the guys. They are retreating, fighting back. It was a good thing that the team was moving cautiously, as the foreman had said. If they were going safely, they would have died long ago. It's lucky they're still alive, but it's getting harder by the minute. The enemy is twice as big as they are, and you'll still have to hold them off until reinforcements arrive. Reinforcements need at least 5 minutes on the road, and they won't be able to hold out that long without suffering losses. Sir was told to push through. The rock split and reinforcements came out. 10 officers under Count Otis arrived. But how they got there so quickly, apparently the hero knew and sent them out in advance. Why are they sitting around and not attacking? The hero asked Sir William. They've pinned down the enemy forces in the mountains, really. That deadpan voice of the hero, and he also says that the man is cooling off. It wasn't easy for him to knock out reinforcements for them, so they need to deal with at least 5 units while they're there. At the meeting, they discussed how the hero managed to destroy 5 units under his command. He is incredible. He managed to foresee the enemy's machinations and turn a terrible defeat into a victory. Other units are suffering losses, but the Lawrence Brigade is making a good contribution. At first, Count Otis thought that the newcomer was lucky, but after so many cases, there is no need to talk about luck. As a child, it was said that he was a genius, but after being poisoned, he became useless. He ended up being a dormant dragon, awakened now. The Count asked if he was the same age as his Michelle. Everyone present was shocked. Someone even choked. The guy's family has already given up on him, and the Count could have taken him in. Others heard that he had a lover. He was so inseparable from her that he even dragged her to the war. No problem, as long as the Count's daughter, Michelle, is the official wife. But he is also a gambler. They dissuaded the man, but this is better than a drunkard, a drug addict, or a slut. The man has already noticed the hero is a son-in-law. He cannot be persuaded. But all of them advised him to pick up. Suddenly the hero will show himself somehow, and if Mitchell finds out about it, everyone present is screwed. She really has a temper. Everyone is silent for a moment. They will finish for today. The Count has agreed to everything. Let him send a report to the general staff and let them not forget to mention the exploits of Brigadier Lawrence. In the corridor, a man approached the hero. He needed to talk. The guy asked the girl to wait. The man was calm and in anticipation. He used to be curious and cautious, but now he's disposed, probably because Adrian saved him and the crew from being killed. He asked why the master was hiding his true power, which was a direct question. He might not know, but many of the Viscount's retainers are worried about the future. If Cedric takes over the leadership, then the people will have a difficult time. In Billiam's opinion, his brother is not suitable for the role of lord. If the hero has the determination to resist his brother, the man will support him with all his might. The Acestalny glasses don't show anything, which means that Sir is sincere, and he is also one of my father's closest advisors. Maybe his father said something to him before going to the front, or is it because the guy saved them? The man pretended that this conversation didn't happen, even though the guy is grateful. Surprisingly naive, he was quick to speak out. No matter how much the guy tries to stop his brother's spying, he's not sure that there aren't some types of surveillance that he doesn't already know about. In addition, he will manage on his own. It is his and only his task to get rid of Anna and Cedric, so he does not want to share this pleasure with others. In the meantime, he knows that there are those who care about the fate of the country and people of the Viscountcy. The guy should also be awarded a medal, but that's not so important, right? Next, we see a ceremony where the hero for services to the fatherland is awarded the Order of the Golden Lion of the 2nd degree, which turned out to be very important. It was in front of the public, from Calitz van Weingart, the 23rd government of the Kingdom of Reingart. The hero is aware that even every piece of officer equipment is more expensive than a fighter, but he did not expect such praise for his actions. The king needs it for sure to maintain morale in the country. It is an honor for him. He will cherish this award all his life. He'd been asked to look at the camera by reporters, and Cedric would probably bite his elbows in anger when he saw it. And so it was, he was swearing at people for talking about Adrian all the time, and his mother was listening. He said that if he went to war, these awards would be his. My father still hasn't returned. He's staying with that lowly woman, my stepmother said. He hasn't been away from that lady for a long time, and mother isn't going to do anything about it, the son asked. It might poison him, but it was also because of Adrian that his father had gone to this woman. It seems that the man intends to protect her until the hero returns from the front. He protects her from them. Horror hero and really wants to break all ties and leave after the war. Yes, but he is desperate because he needs money, and in the war he saw an opportunity and was able to get a title. But he will never be a match for her son. His mother will take care of this. She does not lie. They are supported by their maternal grandfather, and their mother has taken control of most of the power in the viscountcy. The father is in power until he passed it on to his son, so why? Everyone in Adrian's childhood praised him for his knowledge and skills, which made Cedric angry. They took him out back then, so why is he trying to get on Bart's nerves and his stepmother's again? Adrian. 48 days have passed since the beginning of the war. The hero told everyone to take an energy drink before the battle. It's refreshing. The other brigades are already tired, and the guys are full of energy. Of course they're full, because he put the magic elixir in there. They don't even know that this elixir is a solution of 1 drop of the legendary panacea. It's even a bit of a pity to spend it on fighters, but he also wants the war to end faster. The team of Billiam went to investigate. The hero said goodbye to them. The divisional commander calls him. On the way, he fed the eagle. Otis calls him more and more often. Apparently his lordship trusts the guy. Although these challenges bother him, the hero will not be able to refuse this. He arrived at the place. Other commanders were also there. He is a colleague of all the unit commanders here. He could write something important about the fighting. Apparently he will announce something important that cannot be told to everyone. The man came out on the balcony and attracted attention. You should be happy, he said. Soon your ears will stop listening to explosions and gunfire. Soon the end of the war will be declared. At this hour there is a meeting of diplomats, our side and the enemy side. Soon the end of the war will be declared. It seems that the Cruisan Empire did not intend to go so far. It was a large-scale clash, and everyone, such, but less, happens every year. Then why was it all started? Obviously, to prove their power and authority. This was also the case in Korea. It seems that they are just unlucky. No one is going to put up. Geralt said that he sent an advance party to investigate, can bring them back, but no, because until the signing of the peace treaty, everything should go as usual in the war. A great game. The younger ones go to die, and the older ones decide for them. The Count said to have fun with Adrian from the heart. After all, he was recently awarded the Order of the Golden Lion, and even more awards are waiting for him when he returns, so let him enjoy the last days of the war. I wonder how long ago he became a hero for everyone, and not a non-entity. Why should he think about others? There is a bright future ahead. He will return to his family. As the war ends, the hero needs to level up to that point. Then we see him sitting in a room with Arsha, with Billiam standing next to him, and he thinks it's good to think that the opponents went ahead and fought them to the death. 100 sky fortresses and tens of thousands of officers would have pulverized Gobber. It would be a disaster on a terrifying scale, but the man should know why he was here. He took a delicious treat from the girl from the bag and offered it to Sir. It's a gift from the Count. The hero doesn't know the name, but it's clearly something exquisite. He's different from the other nobles. The man noticed that long ago. Not only does he worry about ordinary soldiers, but he's also on personal duty while his men are resting. It is clear that he is different, but in his previous life he was an ordinary citizen. But he still holds himself with dignity, added Billiam. Here apparently the man was mistaken, while the enemy was coming at them. The hero sipped tea. This is evidence of unshakable self-confidence. Looking at him, the suspended had the opportunity to put aside fear and doubt. Everyone in the second separate brigade trusts him. It is clear where he is driving. Again wants to raise the topic about the guy's brother. Suddenly, Billiam got down on one knee and said, he's put trusted people on guard. No one can hear them here, and he also checked the room for wiretaps. Apparently he's serious, and they're all on his father's side. He has made arrangements, but they will be noticeable, so he came here when everyone is resting. He got down on one knee and said that he would be a humble servant of Adrian Lawrence. He would swear allegiance to him. Whether the other knights want to say the same thing, so it was, the hero thought a little and agreed. But only if they don't let on that something happened. But isn't it easier to openly gather allies? There are enough knights that they have begun to reckon with the hero. They will start to count, but this is not enough to win. The hero has a plan, and he asks to obey the order. As many as 5 officers and about 30 knights are willing to swear allegiance to him. If his father's retainers were gathered, it would be twice as many, the more the better. And one more thing, his father is planning to send Sir Perseus, so I should probably contact him in advance and get him on my side. This man was the second in command of the Viscount's Knight Regiment. Other than the commander himself, he had no equal in martial arts and aura mastery. But he had left the order long ago and was the victim of a power struggle that Anna had started. Such a warrior returns to them. Rather, his return will turn many knights to the side of the hero, who maintain neutrality. He is a typical warrior and is highly respected among the knighthood. With him, Adrian will increase his influence. Then he will become the equal of his stepmother and brother. It is a good idea to win him over to his side. He will find a use for his talent outside the family. He wants to meet him. The hero hopes that Billiam will help to do everything, of course secretly. He did it soon after. Influence is good, but strengthening your influence is not the main goal. Its main goal is to complete the next quest in the game. Today he will achieve the creation of the 7th circle of magic. He could not overcome it, he was killed. But after regaining the experience, he could try again. The girl protected the hero with a shield until the 200th level. He never died, passing quests of unexpected encounters. In the game, it is normal to die and overcome difficulties, but his body is synchronized with the character and it will be incredibly painful to survive death. Arsha has always been a wall between him and the enemy, but now the monster is pushing her back. In a fight, Adrian has always taken care of his own safety, but now in a fight where he is helped by a girl and an eagle, fight against the Death Knight, Pascal. It's not just a monster, it's an aura master. It has an individual buff named specifically for this quest, and its physical strength is simply incredible. This is a level boss that the guy didn't even dream about. He was killed again and got a new attempt. He will be resurrected in the nearest settlement. He ended up on a bench in the city because of the synchronization with his body. He can't even submit from pain because of the people around him. Up to this point, everything was very easy. He revived the companion to life. The girl immediately apologized. It was also painful for her to die, but the hero's feelings are stronger than hers. She can bear it. This is good, the guy exhaled, seeing her stats, perfect for tanking. He did not hesitate to buy her back then. But the closer they got, the more he worried that the guy was hiding behind her fragile figure during the fight. He promised to change the fighting style so that she wouldn't have to take all the punches and his pain. But even so, he needs to change his fighting style. The battle with this Death Knight showed just how imperfect their style was. Arsha blocks the enemy's movement, Raven supports her by distracting the enemy from above or flying at him, and the hero from behind the girl deals strong magic blows. Before that, their equipment helped to equalize forces, but they came across an opponent who surpasses them even with equipment. It's not difficult for him to break through the girl's defense, and then everything fell apart. The problem is reloading. It takes time to charge and cast, because the damage is not as fast as it should be. So, to keep the enemy away while he casts, you need an eagle to attack the enemy from above. Arsha fought well against the enemy. Even though she was overpowered by him after a while, she can still hold on for a while. If there was something that takes away the enemy's health while Arsha is defending and the hero is casting, their style might work. Since he can't summon anyone else in the quest, 3 options come to mind. The first is the use of lower circle spells to ensure a high rate of fire. Second, use the eagle so that it fights and does not fly in and out. Third, use Arsha's sword so that she can not only defend with a shield, but also deal damage. He will have to train himself and instruct the team. It will not be easy, but it is necessary to try. Then we see the second battle against the Death Knight. Again, nothing happened. The guy died and was reborn in the same place. He was very angry. It was his fault and no one else's. He tried to use the girl and the eagle more actively in battle, but the bird is clearly not adapted to direct combat. He died in a minute. The hero died 3 minutes later, and Arsha won later. It seems that all the trouble is due to the rapid death of the eagle. The black eagle doesn't do much damage, but its strong point is distraction, so it needs to be protected for its fighting style to work. Maybe make a chest plate for him. Adrian thought in the game, you need to try it out, and don't worry, what doesn't work will eventually work, and this is his test to reach the 7th circle. There was a third battle, and again nothing happened. The hero was even more angry. Although this time is not so bad, the chest plate did not work for success, but it performs its function. By equipping the eagle this time, they were able to prolong the battle with the knight, and he was able to learn his techniques. They saw what the enemy was capable of, recovered, and now they will try again. It was the 5th battle. Then the enemy spoke. He did not believe that they were coming back and coming back. They have a real talent for entertaining the undead. Maybe the hero will make it his profession. He probably didn't understand. People have such a thing as a fighter jet. He pointed his staff at the knight and fired an attack, but the knight parried it with his sword, overpowered the girl, and the eagle hit the hero at all and not the enemy, although then it returned to its place. He deigned to descend. That's good. The knight killed him again. The 9th battle came. This time they tried a different configuration. A mage going straight ahead, it's funny, but their lifetime will soon expire, although this time they dealt more damage to the enemy. The most difficult task was to dodge his attacks and cast spells, but he lasted 25 minutes. It's possible you need to try again and put on equipment that will speed up his reaction and speed, not casting. He will try to be a fast-running and agile magician, which no one would want to be. He was killed again. And here is the next battle. He ran, dodged, and attacked the enemy, and successfully. The little girl helped him, but the liar still hit him with magic and wounded him. But before he died, he realized that this battle showed him everything. He tried to be a clever magician, and this reduces damage, but he not only protects himself, but also allows his companions to attack. In the 64 minutes of battle, they dealt 84% damage to the Death Knight. The hero will be able to, a few attempts and he will win. Adrian woke up in bed and took off his game points. He exceeded the time limit for communication. He thought he would reach the 200th level, but there is such a delay. He felt like his body was in slow motion. Was he sick? Arsha explained that this is due to the fact that he died many times. It is normal that his vision has changed so far. But how does she feel? The girl can't say anything, but she feels stronger. Statistics say that she is the same, but she feels differently. Experience gives her such strength. The hero is used to this, but Arcia does not talk like an artificially created homunculus. She is gaining experience and new impressions. Suliko will become indistinguishable from a human. There were no orders for her. The hero goes to bed and advises her to, as soon as the internet appears, they will try again. In the 12th battle, the knight's damage was 75%. 85. In the 14th, 91%, and in the 15th, 89. In the 16th, 93, in the 17th, 98%. In the 18th battle, the damage dealt to the monster was 100%. They succeeded. The hero was very happy. Even the knight himself praised him for the victory. He completed the 7th level of the quest, Unexpected Meetings. That's how this video ends. If you have sat through to the end, please don't forget to press the subscribe button and leave feedback. See you in the next video.